student, good morning. I welcome you all to my class. And in today's video, I'm going to teach you about two persons who are very brave. So I have taken chapter number 7, and the name of the lesson is A Visit to Cambridge. It is written by Firdaus, Ganga, and children. One more person is there who is also a physically disabled person. Both are taking the support of wheelchair, and they are very brave. Both are the best. They have proved their best. They have reached to their height in their field. Stephen Hawking, he is a scientist in the Oxford University. He is a professor, but he had discovered a lot of things. So he is a scientist also. And Firdaus Ganga is a writer and a journalist in Mumbai. His bone is so weak, his bone is brittle that he had to take the support of wheelchair. So such is the situation related with both the person. Both are handicapped, both are sitting on a wheelchair, both are taking the support of wheelchair, but then they are not losing hope. They are working for hours by sitting in the wheelchair. Okay, so in this chapter we will read about them. Now children, the writer of this chapter is Firdaus Ganga himself. He is the person that he has written about himself, and he is the writer also. Okay, in this chapter he mentioned that from India to Cambridge, why he went to meet Stephen Hawking. When he came to know that he is also a handicapped person, his whole body is paralyzed. Then he thought that he should see him and he should get motivated also, because he was also in wheelchair. Anyhow, children, their meeting was fixed for half an hour, but Stephen Hawking, when he saw Firdaus, he was so happy that the meeting took place for more than half an hour. So children, such was the situation there. Both have become so friendly, they share a lot of things. Now children, I will be telling you about the background of the lesson. So children, first of all, I will tell you, this is the story of a meeting between two people. So this is not a story, but it is about a meeting. The whole lesson is based on the meeting of two people, and who are they? It is Stephen Hawking and Firdaus Ganga. Both were extraordinary in their fields. That means they were superb. They have done a lot of good work in their field. Stephen Hawking is a great scientist, though he suffered from paralysis. Now children, Stephen Hawking, he is suffering from paralysis, and he is also good, one of the best person in his field. He is confined to a wheelchair, and he can speak only with the help of a computer. He is confined to a wheelchair, and he can speak only with the help of computer. Firdaus Ganga, the writer and journalist from Mumbai, was born with very weak and easy breakable bone. Naturally, his bones were brittle. He was a writer and journalist from Mumbai, but with a very weak and very brittle. What is the meaning of brittle? Which can be break very easily. Alright. So, even he was advised to sit in a wheelchair and do his work. He too moves around in a wheelchair. He meets Hawking in England. The two had discussed how the so-called normal people should look at the disabled. Now children, he went to England to meet Stephen Hawking, and there they decided how the person who is not disabled, how he comes and see them, what they think about them. So it was a topic for discussion for that day. The writer Firdaus was on a walking tour through Cambridge to UK. His guide told him about Stephen Hawking, who was occupying Newton's chair at the university. So, the writer Firdaus was on a walking tour through Cambridge to UK. His guide told him about Stephen Hawking, who was occupying Newton's chair at the university, but Hawking was disabled fellow. He wrote A Brief History of Time, one of the bestsellers. So, children, Hawkins, he had written a book also. Okay, and what was the name of a book? You can underline when I will be teaching you, when I will be explaining you, you can underline. So, what was the name of a book? A Brief History of Time. Something very special, what I feel. One of the bestseller. Children, first of all, let me tell you what is the bestseller book. The book, children, the books which is bought by maximum people. Like once upon a time when Harry Potter was released, I understand. Okay, when Harry Potter was there, what happened? That book, when it was released, many people bought that book. So that was that book can be called the bestseller. Well, with those phoned Hawkins that he was from India and wanted to meet him and write about his travels in Britain. Now, children, I told you Firdaus was a writer, and what he did, he had ranked to Stephen Hawkins by telling that he is a writer from India and he wanted to meet him. At the same time, he wanted to write something about his uh, journey, something about his journey to Britain and what he had done, therefore, what purpose he had there. So, he had talked to him. Hawkins agreed to see him for half an hour. Well, finally, the meeting was decided when, where, and finally, it was decided by Hawkins' dad that he could meet him only for half an hour. Well, when he went there, okay, he was given the time for half an hour, but when he went there, the both the person, they were so friendly, they became so friendly with each other that instead of talking for half an hour telling about his thing, he gave him 1 hour time. So they both talk on many topics, on many subjects. With those remarks that people often thought that disabled people were unhappy people. Hawking said it was an amusing attitude. He admitted that he felt annoyed when another disabled person came and disturbed him in his work. Now, children, it was when they were talking with each other, it was Firdaus who told him that the people who come to meet disabled person, they are having different attitude when they see them. But what answer did Stephens gave it to him? He told that I don't care for such a people. We had got so much things to do, so I don't get disturbed by them. Okay, but he do feel annoyed when some disabled person come and disturb him in his work. He told me, but I do feel annoyed and irritated when some disabled person come to them and they disturb him. Now, children, he used to believe one thing. The body is like a box. The whole body of a human being is like a box, and in that box, a brilliant mind and soul is there. In that box, a brilliant mind and soul is there. He did not see anything good about being disabled. He did not see anything good about being disabled. Seeing the poor condition of the great scientist, Firdaus felt great relief even though he could neither walk nor even stand. Hawkins did not like the idea of the disabled Olympics. He thought that it was a waste of time. His advice to the disabled people was that they should concentrate what they were good at. Now, children, he told that being disabled, to have disability in the body, is not a sin, and they should not be disappointed. He told that they should also uh, should be behave like a normal person. People think, people feel pity on them, and sometimes the remarks are passed to them, so they should not be done by the people. And they should consider that they are also human beings. They should not laugh, they should not make fun of them. And he advised disabled people also that whatever good is there, good quality is there in them, try to identify those quality and try to bring out those quality outside. Suppose if he is a good singer, try to put it outside. The narrator itself, he was a disabled person, but he was among the best writer. He used to write. See, Mr. Stephen also, he is a professor. At the same time, he is a scientist also. He is doing a lot of research. He sits only for hours. His body cannot move, even his whole part of body, because he is paralyzed. But due to strong willpower, he is able to work very hard day and night. So he is telling one should not get disheartened. Well, seeing the poor condition of the great scientist, Firdaus felt great relief even though he could neither walk nor even stand. Naturally, when Firdaus went to him to take his interview, he was impressed. He could not even stand, he could not even move, but he was doing a lot of work. So he was impressed with those when he saw and when he met Stephen Hawkins. Well, Heidi Hawkins did not like the idea of disabled Olympic. Now, children, they have also discussed about disabled Olympics for disabled people. And children, it was Hawkins who did not like idea. He thought that it is simply a wastage of time for them. They should concentrate on the things in which they are good. They should concentrate on the thing in which they are good. Hawkins made Firdaus spend 1 hour instead of half an hour. This I think I've told you. And children, he had not only had a tea with him, he went to see his garden. And children, when they went to him, it was some special wheelchair, some motorized wheelchair was them, which was in that chair. Both of them sat and walked towards the garden. Well, the time came for the departure. Firdaus got up to take leave of him. He could neither kiss Hawkins nor cry, but one thing he was convinced, that this scientist is a epitome of bravery. This scientist is an epitome of bravery. So this came in his mind many times, since even he was a disabled person. He cannot kiss. When we Indians, this is a part of our tradition. When we greet with each other, we do namaste. But in the Western country, kissing is a normal way of greeting with each other. So since he was in a wheelchair, he was not able to kiss Stephen Hawkins, and he was not able to cry also because he did not want, he was feeling sad to leave such a nice person who not only had a tea with him. Took to his garden. He showed lot of flowers and plant which was there, varieties of plant, discussed about each plant, and then they see off. So, children, this is the story, and this is the background of the chapter. And now, what I feel that we should remember one thing, that where if you want to do something good in your life, you have to be after it. No obstacle will be there in the way. Can see both the person, both were paralyzed. Both were not able to stand, but both were expert in their jobs. Now, so children, I'm going to start reading the lesson, and please note down the difficult words. Okay, what are difficult words are there? You have to note it down. At the same time, children, many difficult expressions are there. So please note it. Make a note of it. So, student, let's come to page number 100. Okay, and children, this is the name of the lesson I have already written, A Visit to Cambridge. It is chapter number 7. Now children, before we do the explanation part, let's read. This is the story of a meeting between two extraordinary people, both of them disabled or differently abled. So children, this is the, as I told you in my background of the story, I told you that this is a story of a meeting between two persons. That this whole story is rotating around the meeting between two people, and both were disabled or differently abled. As we now say, Stephen Hawking is one of the greatest scientists of our time. Now, children, Stephen Hawking, I think everybody know that he is one of the greatest scientists. He suffers from a form of paralysis that confines him to wheelchair. Now, children, but bad luck that he is suffering from paralysis and he is sitting in a wheelchair now, and allows him to speak only by punching buttons on a computer. Now, children, he is, the condition of his body is such, has such a condition that which he is not able to speak also properly, and children, he have to speak only by punching buttons on a computer, which speak for him in a machine like voice. Firdaus Kangna is a writer and journalist. So you can see both of them. One was the writer and the journalist, and the other is a great scientist, but paralyzed person. So Firdaus Kangna is a writer and journalist who lives and works in Mumbai. So one lives in England, the other lives in India. Kanga was born with brittle bones that tended to break easily when he was a child. Like Hawkins, Kanga moves around in a wheelchair. Now, children, in this letter, he himself, he is a narrator also. He is the person who is described about himself in this story. So he is telling when he was born with a brittle bone. Brittle means, what is the meaning of brittle? It can be easily broken. I think you can write it, children. It can be easily broken. Well, so that tended to break easily when he was a child. Like Hawkins, Kangna moves around in a wheelchair. So both of the person, they were sitting in a wheelchair and they used to move. The two great men exchanged thought on what it means to live life in a wheelchair, and how the so-called normal people react to the disabled. Now, children, while in the meeting they discuss this thing also, that how the normal people, they behave with them. So many remarks they have to hear, so many sarcastic things remarks they have to bear. Okay, and at the same time, how they are feeling for hours. In fact, whole day they pass in wheelchair. So how they are feeling. So Now this part also, appetizer part, we have finished, and here I am coming to the main part of this lesson. I am going to read and you have to listen, and if you have any problem we can discuss in online class. Cambridge was my metaphor for England, and it was strange that when I left it had become altogether something else, because I had met Stephen Hawking there. Children, metaphor here, please write it, note down the meaning of metaphor. Here, metaphor means figurative use of a word of of composition. Okay, children. That means, children, it was his dream word. Cambridge was his dream word, and the moment he was given a chance to meet uh, Stephen Hawking, he was very happy, and he could not forget that meeting, and it was very special place for him because he had met Stephen Hawking there. It was on a walking tour through Cambridge that the guide mentioned Stephen Hawking, poor man who is quite disabled now, though he is a worthy successor of Isaac Newton, whose chair he has at the university. Now, children, even such a highly qualified person, he is a was a professor. Now I think he is retired, and a great scientist. Children, what one of the guide who told him that he is a poor man who is quite disabled. This shows, children, society always think that poor men are very weak. But this, both the person, they have proved that they are not the disabled person, they are never, and in fact they are not weak person. And he is telling that he is a very worthy person, and now he is sitting in the chair of Isaac Newton, whose chair he has at the university. So he is one of the most luckiest person in that university. I started because I had quite forgotten that this most brilliant and completely paralyzed astrophysicist. Astrophysicist is a certain branch of physics, and it deals with planets, stars, and all this. This is known as astrophysicist. So, children, he was a professor in astrophysicist. Now, page number 101. The author of A Brief History of Time. Now, children, he has written one book also. He is the author of A Brief History of Time, and please underline this thing. You have to learn it. One of the biggest bestseller ever had. I think I just discussed about bestseller. Bestseller are those books which everybody buy at that contemporary time. Everybody buys. Like I give you the example of Harry Potter. When Harry Potter was released, it became so famous that everybody would like to read it. So that is known as bestseller. When the walking tour was done, I rushed to a phone booth and almost tearing the cord so it could reach me outside. Phone Stephen Hawking's house. Now, children, the narrator had to go for a walking tour, and children, when he came from there, okay, he just wanted to have an appointment with Stephen Hawking's house, and he ran to receive a call because there was his assistant on the line, and I told him I had come in a wheelchair from India. Perhaps he thought I had propelled means drive myself all the way to write about my travels in Britain. So he told him that to his assistant that he had come all the way from India to meet him. He had come to meet him, and I had to see Professor Hawkins. Even 10 minutes would do. Half an hour, he said, from 3:30 to 4. Well, finally, I think he had a talk with the professor, and the professor told him, okay, For half an hour, he said, from 3:30 to 4, he can meet with the narrator. And suddenly I felt weak all over. Growing up disabled, you get fed up with people asking you to be brave. Now, children, suddenly he felt a bit weak because he was also a person who traveled all over in a wheelchair. And children, growing up disabled, you feel fed up with people asking you to be brave. And children, the worst thing is that whoever see them, they just keep on lecture that be brave, be brave. So he was tired of listening this from the other people. As if you have courage account on which you are too lazy to draw a check. The only thing that makes you strong is seeing somebody like you achieving something huge. Then you know how much is possible and you reach out further than you ever thought you could. So then you know how much is possible and you reach out further than you ever thought you could. So children, he thought that he would also reach there, and it was much possible for him, okay, to have an appointment and to talk to him. Anyhow, he was given the appointment, I mean to say. And suddenly I felt weak all over. Growing up disabled, you get fed up with people asking you to be brave, as if you have a courage account on which you are too lazy to draw a check. The only thing that makes you stronger is seeing somebody like you achieving something huge. Now, children, he told, though he was very sad, whoever used to come, the other, they used to give him some lecture, be brave, or something they used to tell about his disability. Now, he felt he was also feeling weaker day by listening this type of remarks from the people. So he thought he would gain some energy when he will go to him. He is also on the same boat. He is also sitting on the wheelchair. So he decided that he would go, and what he will do, he would talk to him, and in this way he would gain a lot of energy from him. Lot of energy means lot of inspiration from him. I haven't been brave, said his disembodied computer voice the next afternoon. I have had no choice. Children, disembodied means existing without body. Existing without body. So he is telling, I haven't been brave, said his disembodied computer voice the next afternoon. I have no choice. No, he's telling, I don't have any choice. Surely I wanted to say leaving creatively with the reality of this integrating body was a choice. He told me, I really don't have choice. I'm not a brave person. Bearing such type of body. Okay, so I had no choice but choose the best one. But he told I kept quiet because I felt guilty every time I spoke to him, forcing him to respond. Now, children, first of all, whatever he was speaking, the narrator, he had to speak through the computer. So every time when he was speaking, he was feeling guilty conscious that he is troubling him. Firdaus is troubling Professor Stephens. Well, there he was tapping at the little switch in his hand, trying to find the word on his computer with the only bit of movement left to him. And he was talking also at the same time. Children, he was thinking something. What he was thinking? He was thinking for some words on his computer with the only bit of movement left of to him. His long, pale fingers, even so often his eyes would shut in frustration, exhausted. Exhausted means he was so tired. Sometimes he was so tired by working all this thing that his eyes used to get closed. And sitting opposite him, I could feel him anguish. Anguish means mental pain. Children, he can feel the pain which he was suffering from. The mind beyond with thoughts that came out in frozen phrases and sentences stiff as corpse. Beyond, you can see, children, it is radiant here, intensively active and vibrant. Okay, his brain was already very much active, his brain was already very much vibrant. Okay, but then also he was in pain. So with this, I complete my work here for today. I conclude my video here, and tomorrow we will meet and I will explain the rest of the lesson. Children, whatever problem you have, we can discuss in the class, in the online class. So thank you and have a nice day ahead.